The agriculture sector clearly kept the economy afloat. For more on this, we're joined by economist and head of economic and agribusiness research at the Agricultural Business Chameber, also an author of the book Country of Two Agricultures, Wandile Sihlobo. Good afternoon, Wandile. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, the agriculture sector continues, as stated, to keep the economy afloat. We saw this even in the fourth quarter of 2024. Now, before we get to that sector itself, firstly, share just your overall reaction to the growth of 0.1%.
I think the figures that we are seeing for the overall economy, one can say they are even a slight surprise. Many people expected that the economy would pretty much remain stagnant this quarter. All of what one can make out of this, we are for some time stuck in this low growth path. And I think that in an environment where there's trade policy dynamics globally, we are likely going to be seeing for much of the year pretty much a downbeat performance. You are seeing the numbers out of the Treasury, the Reserve Bank, and the others for the year. And I think the quarterly broad performance of the sector speaks exactly to those expectations.
I want us to actually speak at length on the trade policy, specifically the tariffs, because right now there's a back and forth in the United States. Insofar as the courts are concerned, there is a possibility that those tariffs could be sustained in the not so distant future. But before we get to that and how it could impact this sector, the agricultural sector, which has clearly been that one that has kept the economy afloat, your take on just it being a major contributor as a sector, also transport and finance?
Look, we knew that the agricultural sector would do reasonably well this year. There's a number of things behind this. You do have a base effect because we are coming from a fairly bad year, 2024, because of the midsummer drought. But when you look at how much the farmers have planted in a number of important subsectors, in the field crops, for example, particularly grains and the oilseeds, we see production up 18% on a year-on-year basis, sugarcane production up 7%, wine production up 11%. I can go on the fruits and the livestock. That's the only one that is facing challenges. But overall, when we are thinking about agriculture, the numbers are looking good. The key catalyst, though, behind all of this is the favorable weather conditions that have supported it. Now, the one aspect that will change the dynamics a little bit in some of the quarters that are yet to come is the foot and mouth disease, which is affecting the livestock industry. But I would still hold a broadly optimistic view about how agriculture will perform for much of 2025. And it will remain one of the sectors that I think will power us up a little bit this year.
And then to the volatility across the globe brought on or visited by the policies of the United States insofar as tariffs are concerned. Given how this sector continues to support growth, one can assume that if the tariffs are in fact sustained by the U.S. courts, then this would have some sort of an impact on our overall GDP.
Look, in terms of how agriculture has been performing so far, you just look, for example, on the figures for the first quarter in terms of the exports. The exports were up roughly 10%. Quarter on quarter, and we recorded around about $3.4 billion US within the agricultural sector. That means that we're still powering fairly well. But you are right, the US is an important market. It's about 4% of our overall agricultural exports, but concentrated in important industries, citrus, wine, table grapes, nuts are some of those. Depending then about how the conversation pan out with the US, we are worried about the citrus industry, which is in the middle of the export season. And later on in the year, you have nuts and you have table grape and the wine continuously. The idea for us in South Africa is either we get preferential access in the US as we have enjoyed, or we remain on par with our competitors in as far as the tariff levels. That's your Chile and the Australia and the others.
All right, Wandile, thank you very much for your time as always. That is economist Wandile Sihlobo speaking to us there.